Hey everybody, this is Larry. This week on Q3 of the weekly contest 501. Minimize array sum using divisible replacements. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me in Discord. Let me know what you think about this one. I think the first thing you have to consider for this one is, and this is the first thing I did. I mean, you know, these are things that when I say you have to consider, I don't necessarily mean that this will be part of the final solution, right? It doesn't have to be that. I mean, it would be nice if it did, but you know. And what I mean by that is that the first thing I would think about is that, okay, well, we can sort the array, right? And sorting is free-ish. It's very cheap, rather. Maybe it's not free. Sorting is very cheap. So, you know, so you think about sorting because it gives you the input a structure, right? Maybe you don't need it, but for me, it just gave it a structure. And then now when I think about it that way, and the structure that it gives me is that obviously if a number divides another number, then it would have to be in the front, right? Yeah, maybe I'm saying it wrong in divides, but for example, if your first number is 2 after you sort it, then you could effectively get rid of all the even numbers, right, etc, etc. And then of course I was thinking along those lines, but of course it's going to be n squared if you do it very naively. But then what is interesting is that, well, the number ranges are also up to 10 to the 5th. And I'll admit that I actually already started writing a prime factorization thing because it just felt very prime factorization-y because there's a divisor. But I was wrong on that one. And if you watch the live portion, you'll see me be like, oh, this doesn't really make sense. Even though as the structure of it, it feels like it, but it's not right. And the reason is just because even though the examples here all have like prime factors, it doesn't have to be, right? For example, if this just has I don't know, maybe not this one then. Maybe you have like 4 and 16 and no 2s. Well, the prime factors are powers of 2s, right? But the actual divisor is a 4, and so you cannot, you have to divide by 4 and not 2, right? So in that sense, the prime factorization didn't make sense. But I think one thing to realize, and this is something that took me a long time to kind of really, like, I learned the formula and I learned all these things, but it took me a long time to actually understood what it meant, which is this thing, which is this formula, this idea that comes up from time to time, where n plus n over 2 plus n over 3 plus n over 4 plus ... is approximately n log n, right? I hope that's right. Otherwise, then I just lied on TV or whatever this thing is. Right, but yeah. But what this means is that, and this is also, by the way, I mean, you can actually, there is a tighter bound when it comes to primes and stuff like this. We're not going to get into it, but you could, even if you just have this for the CIF, you get n log n, and this is pretty happy. Of course, it's not technically n log n in the sense that in the CIF is the input size, which is another story. But in any case, you have, but that's just big O analysis. This is the formula, right? So if something takes n operations and then you do it divided by 2, divided by 3, ... right? And what this means practically is that you can have something that's like, okay, right? From I to n, adding I every time, right? Because then now what happens is that when I is equal to 1, this loop does n times. When I is equal to 2, I guess you have to skip 0 because otherwise it's just confusing. With I is equal to 2, this happens n over 2 times, n over 3 times, ... and then you have the structure. So that's kind of the idea. And what ties it all together is that the range of the numbers is 10 to the 5th. And what does this look like? Well, we have multiples of I. That is just what this thing means, right? That means that every multiple of, every multiple of i's would have this. And that's kind of it. And then we can jump straight to code once you have that understanding. If I'm able to do it. Right, and the code, as you can see, is very quick. I just set m is the max value because there's just no reason to go more than that. Otherwise, then now we count every thing, right? We count every the frequency of every number. And then this is basically what I told you. I mean, I wrote this with a while loop, but the idea is still the same. And there's an if statement which makes the code slightly cleaner or faster, right? But basically the idea is that for every x, which is I in our earlier loop, for every x, if we have any of them, this is just following the problem, by the way, right? Because if we have any of them, then now we're trying to find multiples of x so that we can convert those into x, right? And that's what we have here. Every y here is going to be multiples of x. So if y is equal to 0, well, then we just convert it from y to x. So then we add x to whatever. We set y is equal to 0 or f sub y is equal to 0 so that no other numbers go to it. And because we do the x in smallest to largest order, in ascending order or increasing order, that means that if y has multiple factors or divisors, then we'll go over the earliest one first. That's kind of the core part, and that's basically it, right? And then at the end, of course, you just sum it all back up. Remember, k is the number, and this is how many numbers we have at the end, the frequency of the numbers. So you just sum it all up, and that's it. What's the complexity? This is O of n, just to count all the numbers, and this is m log m, where m is the range of the number. You could say maybe it's 2 to the m, depending on how you want to say it, but you know. Or m times 2 to the m, if m is the number of bits representing the size of the input, but whatever. But you get the idea. This is the same thing as we talked about, so you can say it's n times m log m, and that's it. That's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and you can watch me solve it live in the contest now. Oh, I would not have been surprised if I was wrong, so I guess I had it right for a little bit, but there's just so many edge cases that I had to consider. Oh well. Integer array nums, any number of time, a and b, where b is mod a, replace a with b. Replace a with b, minimum possible sum. Okay, so this means that we replace the 6 with 2, right? So you always replace it with the smallest number. Now, because it's transitive, so we would, what would we do? Just sort, right? Okay, yeah, sorting makes sense actually, because order doesn't matter. But maybe not sorting by the default order. You have 2, 3, right? So it's just prime factorization, right? So prime surf for each number, just go through it. And then it's just equal to the smallest number, right? And 1 is one of the numbers, by the way. So if 1 is in nums, then what are we doing? Then it just return n. We just all replace it all with 1s. Otherwise, then we have a prime surf, smallest prime factor, right? Range of max. And what is that? Right, and then now. Just forget how I write this, and it's fine. If x is equal to x, then y is equal to x. While y is less than max, y right? If SPF of y is equal to y, then SPF of y is equal to x. So it gives you the smallest prime factor. Right, I guess it doesn't really matter because we go through all of them anyway, right? So primes, or factor rather, of x is going to be equal to right? Yeah. Well, x is greater than 1. And so that, I guess this is a set, is fine. We don't. No, this isn't quite right. I mean, it is kind of right, but it's not quite right, right? because it doesn't have to, your smallest thing doesn't have to be a prime. Huh. I mean, we probably end up using this anyway. Wouldn't make sense otherwise, maybe. But well, it only goes up to 10 to the 5th. Can we take advantage of that? How do I do it? I mean, you're not going to check. Okay, so 10 to the 5th has like what? You can't check all the factors, can you? It's too slow. No, just quit. No, can't do the square root of entering. What am I missing then? Though 10 to the 5th has some like pigeonhole-y things. But, Oh, I see. So you do a prime, I mean, you do a sif, but not like this, right? You don't do a prime sif. So you just do something like, and now you just go, okay, well, m is equal to max of nums plus 1 or something, right? Then now you do a sif on the thing itself, right? So you do, I guess then I guess you don't even need this. I mean, it does saves time, but maybe we don't need it. Yeah, let's just do this and wait, plus 1 here, right? We start at 1, right? Then if f of x is equal to x, no, that's not right. F of x is greater than 0. Then what happens? Then now we go y is equal to x times x plus x times 2 is fine. And then now while y right? Is it equal to? I think it's equal to. If f of y is greater than 0, then f of x we add f of y, and f of y is equal to 0, right? Because they just become that way. Okay, I think that's fine then. And then total is we just sum up all the keys, right? Something like that. Alright, I mean, it should be fine. It's just about having one big number. Okay, seems fast enough, right? Didn't they used to tell you how long that runs? Okay, whatever. Hopefully no edge case mistakes. Alright, that was not bad. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about this one. Stay good, stay healthy, to good mental health. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye bye.